We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back off, become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing this. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, you guys? It is your boy, Leon Mooky here, and I'm back with you with another new Total Drama one-shot. I know it's been in like a whole year since I done one, so I decided, why the hell not bring it back again. So yeah, any rate, with the newest one-shot being, what if Sora was in Total Drama Island? For this part, we'll be focusing on Sora being part of the Screaming Gophers team and see how far he gets. However, you guys also need to remember, no powers. However, basically, this is going to be make things a little bit more interesting, because even without that Sora's powers of the Keyblade, he's a pretty adorable ass kid. Also, I know what some of you may be thinking, especially you diehard Kingdom Hearts fans like myself. Isn't Sora around that of, 14 or 15? Well, he's 15 in Kingdom Hearts 3. He's 14 in Kingdom Hearts 2. Given that a majority of his adventures in each game, mainly the main title games, spanned an entire year, in between that of the spin-off games too, like that of Chain of Memories, 352 Over Days, and Dream Drop Distance, alongside that of Recoded. So yeah. So for this Sora, we'll mainly be using the in-between Dream Drop Distance and Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora, who most likely turned that of 15. And the stipulations for that of this Total Drama is that the characters must be at least that of 15 to 17 years old. So yeah, at any rate, with all that said, let's get into this. Shall we, guys? To make it make sense on how Sora is even in Total Drama Island, this is basically a task from that of Yen Sid for Sora. After failing his Mark of Mastery exam for that of the Dream Eaters by awakening the 7 sleeping worlds, even though it was the fault of Organization 13 and mainly Xehanort and young Xehanort, Yen Sid wishes to test Sora in his abilities without that of the Keyblade, by going to a distant world and taking part into that of a reality TV show. Think of it like that of one of the mini worlds, like that of the 100 Acre Woods, Atlantica, and Space Paranoids. So it wouldn't really destroy that of the timeline for KH after all. So yeah, at any rate, in this world, Sora would take place into that of this world's newest reality TV show to win that of a cash prize. But it's also to help prove that he's capable of still being a Keyblade wielder without his Keyblade. Of course, Sora accepts willingly, pretty much easily after all. So yeah. So now Sora is in that of this newest world and taking part in Total Drama Island, where he'll be part of the Screaming Gophers team. Of course, just as always, gotta remove at least one member of the Screaming Gophers. And just as random choice, the person that Sora will be removing is Noah, So yeah, honestly, the first guy from the team that they basically get eliminated during season 1. So yeah, I don't think it's too much of a miss, to be fair. But even so, with Sora basically arriving and him being his goofy, cheerful, and always upbeat self, some see him as a pretty good guy, while some see him as an easy target to basically get eliminated. Oh, if only they knew, even without his Keyblade, this kid is a monster. Starting with that of the first challenge being the high dive jump into that of the lake, which is basically consumed with shark infested waters, but only one zone is safe for them. Of course, just like in canon, for the Killer Bass team, 2 people don't bother basically jumping, that being Duncan and Courtney. And same thing as for that of the Screaming Gophers, just like as well, Beth doesn't jump too due to her being too scared. But Sora, pretty easily for somebody like Sora, to be honest. He would, especially since he's dived from heights like this before easily, with no fear whatsoever. He even basically gives Owen that of a pep talk too, when he's feeling a little bit fear about jumping into that of the waters, especially given how high it is. But given that when he jumps, he makes a big ass wave that sweeps up everybody and splashes everybody. It's Sora who basically cheers him on and even says he did awesome. Next up being that of next part of the first challenge being building their own, hot tub. Of course, since, the Screaming Gophers basically had lesser chickens and had more people basically jump, they get their own carts. That makes it easier for them to pull that of the materials that they need to build their hot tub. Add that with Sora's positivity and everything else, they honestly make it pretty easily for them. With them having their very first win and that of the Killer Bass have to send somebody home, which is once again, just like in canon, Ezekiel. Next up is the Awake-a-thon, and if I'm going to be completely and utterly honest, honestly, Sora's kind of screwed here. Sora may have a lot of energy and pretty easily, but again, currently, he has no access to that of his Keyblade powers, which means he doesn't have that of a nullification to that of sleep. Not to mention, this is still a Sora that's coming off of basically from Dream Drop distance and constantly sleeping. So, yeah. Sora doesn't get eliminated, but he does fall asleep, though. Thankfully enough, Gwen comes in with the clutch for that of the Screaming Gophers. And also, just like in canon, Eva also gets eliminated too. However, when he hears about that, he can't help but feel a little bit disappointed. The fact that Eva got eliminated just because she misplaced that of her MP3 player, which isn't fair for her part. Which would come back to basically bite them in the ass for that of the dodgeball game, with each team having 5 members go at each other. Even with Sora not having his Keyblade abilities, he's pretty damn fast, strong, durable, and pretty capable after all. Add that with Owen and the crazy stuff that Cody is able to do, which makes Sora think of some crazy stuff to do as well. And they're able to basically blitz through them, even with Duncan basically waking up and everything. And, that of Harold catching that of Owen's ball, but he didn't catch that of Sora's ball, eliminating the nerd. And surprisingly, the person that gets eliminated was neither Duncan nor Harold, but it was actually, again, Tyler. Because again, it's Tyler. Guy's useless. Next up is the talent competition. And to be honest, Sora would definitely be part of it too. Because again, this kid is basically multi-talented in multiple things. I could see Sora doing that of a dance competition for that of the Screaming Gophers. Unfortunately, knowing Heather, given that she's basically control freak and everything, Sora would never even get a chance to. So basically having him stand aside for somebody like Justin, which once again leads that of the Killer Bass basically getting the win, even with all of the crazy stuff with them, with that of the whole Courtney losing her violin and stuff, and due to Bridget basically handstand caught into that of a rope fixture, and basically let that of a spotlight to fall, nearly fall on that of Courtney's head and drop and causing her violin to be cracked. But then again, Harold's beatboxing still comes in clutch, giving the Screaming Gophers their very first loss. And you would think that, well, somebody like, well, Sora would be eliminated. But actually, just like in canon, Justin is eliminated, being the first one, though. And surprisingly, Sora's the one who also voted for him, too, because of Heather. However, when around Heather, he could sense a bit of, well, darkness coming from her heart, to be honest. It's faint, but if she keeps on this path, she may be consumed by it. Next up is the Camping Out Challenge, where each team has to spend the nights in the woods and try to make it back early in the morning. Honestly, this is going to be pretty easy. Not to mention, let's also bring the fact about that of the bear and Izzy also pretending to be a bear, to be fair, to be part of this, and would also drag a bear. Honestly, Sora could basically handle the bear pretty easily, with or without his Keyblade. Kid has fast reaction time, speed, and is pretty damn durable too. So again, he basically sends the bear packing without even trying. And again, this is all without his Keyblade, which catches everybody on that of the Screaming Gophers completely off guard, including Heather, who basically wrote that of, well, Sora off entirely because of his appearance and his personality. But now she sees him as a threat and possibly maybe useful as well. But as for all of that, they were able to get at least a good night's sleep pretty easily since they were able to sleep in a tent while it was raining instead of being in the tree like it was like it would in canon because of being afraid of the bear and all. They were able to make it back to the campsite pretty easily and pretty fast, unlike that of the, well, Killer Bass, who not only didn't make it in time, but also didn't have Katie and Sadie, which, just like before, Sadie gets eliminated, just like in canon. Next up being the next challenge being Face Their Fears, which, well, Sora would definitely honestly bring up his fear on, well, losing his friends, not being able to protect them or keep them safe. Of course, when that of the, well, focus groups and Chris heard all this for the next challenge, Sora's entire motif for his fear is to make sure to protect and help out that of his, well, teammates for their fear challenges. If he cracks under pressure even once, well, either one or two of his teammates basically are unable to keep their fear in check or he's not able to help them properly, then he also basically fails. Which is kind of complicated, to be fair, but not too complicated if you think about it. All Sora needs to do is basically help his teammates conquer their fears. Simple as that. Which is easier said than done because some of them really did screw up quite a bit, to be fair. Like that of Lashana, Cody, but everybody else did pretty damn well. Well, except the fact about Gwen nearly suffocating to death due to Trent leaving, and it was Sora who was the one who basically digged her out, actually. So, yeah, honestly, the only thing that basically could ruin this if Sora basically holds up too much about that of the ones he failed, like that of Lashana or Cody's. But thankfully enough, he holds himself high and realized he was still able to help out at least the others quite a bit, giving the Screaming Gophers another win. And of course, the person that gets eliminated is, well, Courtney for that of the Killer Bass. Next up being the canoe race to Boney Island. And honestly, this could go either way. I mean, it could go pretty much like that of canon with that of, well, with DJ giving out the win for that of the, well, Killer Bass as he basically swims everybody back to that of the, well, campsite. But it could also be the same for that of Sora too, as he could probably do the exact same thing. The chances are 50-50, so to basically run it by, I decided to basically do a coin flip to decide. And when I did the coin flip, it was heads for that of Sora winning, and it was tails for that of DJ winning. And surprisingly, with 2 out of 3, DJ won more. So the Screaming Gophers take another loss, which is their second one. And the person going, just like in canon, being Izzy, of course. But she doesn't really get eliminated due to her running away from that of the RCMP after all. So yeah. But even so, some things change. Like, for example, when Sora was on his way back to that of his cabin, he could feel that of intense darkness coming from that of the girls' cabin. Which, as soon as he's about to head into there, he was soon stopped by that of both, Lashana and Gwen, with Sora trying to explain about he's trying to send something and trying to figure something out. However, the girls don't believe him and basically told that of the spiky brunette to get back to his bunk before they try and kick his ass, causing Sora to basically slump, not being able to fully explain. However, the very next day being that of the deer hunt challenge, where certain campers had to be basically, deers and some had to be hunters. Thankfully enough, Sora is actually a hunter for that of the Screaming Gophers. And let's just say the guy goes on a absolute tear. Sure, a lot of the killer bass end up basically paintballing a lot of the deers of the Screaming Gophers, but so does Sora does the same thing too, being able to move through that of the woods pretty easily. Plus, he still has access to flow motion, so he doesn't screw up pretty easily there. Basically able to take out deers like that of Duncan, DJ, and Jeff. So yeah, so it goes pretty damn well and good for the others. So in a way, it kind of ends up being somewhat of a tie, but Chris gives it more to that of the, killer bass, mainly because they were able to take out way more deer, and even basically hit that of the hunters too, like that of Lashana, to be honest, and Beth too. So even with all that hard work that, Sora did, it was basically wasted. So they still got to send somebody home. And once again, just like canon, it being Cody, guy cannot move or basically attack at all. Originally, Sora was planning on using that of his cure, as even though he can't use his Keyblade, he still has some access to that of his magic. Not all, but not offensive magic, but mainly defensive magic. But, of course, believing that this is a test, he decides not to, even though it really hurts him inside. But he does still use a little bit of his cure on that of Cody, at least enough to basically allow him to move his legs a bit, and a bit of his arms too. But he still needs at least cast around that of his forearms and basically shins and upper torso too. So yeah. Next up is the, cooking challenge. And of course you would think, oh, Sora could do this easily. He can cook. Let's remember, he was in Kingdom Hearts 3, he was controlled by Remy. And in past Kingdom Hearts games, he's not really the best cook. And mostly the ones who are basically making things for that of Sora and the gang are that of the Moogles. So yeah, Sora is basically going to be listening to that of Heather, who basically asked for being head chef after all. So of course everything basically goes to shit, with Sora trying to basically play peacemaker among everybody. It helps a bit, but then you had accidents like that of Trent basically being crushed by that of Owen throwing that of oranges onto the guy. Thankfully, Sora was able to get the oranges off of Trent, but he's basically out of commission though. But even so, there was at least some good stuff thanks for Sora being here. Like, for example, even though, Heather being a tyrant as always, and causing basically the girls to lock her into the freezer, normally Owen would basically be eating all the ribs, leaving that of, nothing for crisps outside of a chunk of meat. But thankfully, Sora was there to keep that of Owen from basically devouring the ribs after all. and basically promised him at least some only after when the challenge is over. So at least that gives him enough points. However, as for cutting the pineapples, thankfully Sora did that to make sure that, well, Lashana doesn't basically have her allergies after all. So thankfully that was taken care of pretty good, even though a bit of them weren't even enough in Heather standards. And then there was the, well, upside down flambe cake. Thankfully, Sora made sure not to use too much lighter fluid after all and only used a good bit. Unlike what in canon, when it basically just turned to freaking ash after all. But it wasn't perfect. So once again, the Killer Bass takes another win. However, but thankfully they were able to get Heather out of the, well, freezer. But then soon, that's when the whole bring up with Beth's good luck charm, which was the tiki item that was basically wafting off that of darkness and, well, dark magic off of it after all. As it was basically the thing that he was trying to get rid of after all during this whole entire, because it was the thing that he sensed when he went to the girls' cabin. Finding out that that very good luck charm has basically been cursing them, just like before. Beth is the next one to get eliminated before that of Heather. So yeah. Then there was the 3-pronged trust exercise challenge. And honestly, that once again goes pretty much as canon too, to be honest, bit by bit. And the Killer Bass basically lose another teammate, which is Sadie, so yeah. No need to go into details about that. Next up is the, well, boot camp challenge. And honestly, Sora was in armies before. So to be honest, this is pretty much easy for the kid after all. Not to mention, even though the Killer Bass still lose, they still get rid of somebody. And that being Duncan. So of course, just like in canon, Harold basically rigged the votes to get rid of Duncan due to the constant bullying after all. Instead of basically being, well, Courtney and basically piss off Duncan to get rid of their love life and all that, he goes after Duncan instead. Next up is the extreme challenges. And to be honest, this could go either way. I mean, honestly, Sora does well in that of his challenges after all, which is basically the moose riding challenge instead of Lashana doing it instead, which he kills it pretty easily. However, the thing that basically gives him the win was, well, Harold basically losing his focus during the mud skiing challenge because of Heather, after all, losing her top. So, yeah. And since, well, Duncan was basically kicked out, for the person basically skiing to get rid of shake off Lindsay, that would have been Jeff. But the bros still basically ended up screwing up, so yeah. But then again, the person getting eliminated is that of, well, Harold, just like in canon too. So yeah. And then next up is that of boys versus girls. Thankfully enough, the teams are somewhat even after all, so this challenge should be fair. As this challenge is known as the brunch of disgustingness, having to eat the most disgusting foods known to man, and hopefully they have that of iron stomachs to handle all this stuff. And for Sora, honestly, this is pretty damn easy. Due to him not basically coming from that of this world after all, the food that he tastes, it's not good, but it's definitely not as bad as anything before, to be fair. So he doesn't complain as much as the others, especially the girls too, as he would be the one to try and go against that of, well, Lashana for the tie-breaking match after all. Basically drinking down that of cockroach cocktails shots. And thankfully enough, Sora basically takes it pretty easily, with even basically patting Lashana on the back saying, "Better luck next time, Lashana," as he walks off. However, as soon as he done patting her, she basically begins vomiting, like everybody else outside of that of Sora. But I won't lie to you, he does feel like vomiting a little bit, which now wins that of the boys a spa day treatment. But the next competition will be the beginning of the merge, which every camper for themselves. Not to mention that a few campers will be making their return, such as Izzy, who technically wasn't truly eliminated after all. And then there's a fan favorite, or rather, the producer's favorite. It's Eva, who's basically came to get that vengeance on that of the members of the Killer Bass after all. So yeah. With the very first merger challenge being a game of torture, otherwise known as Say Uncle, which having to basically go through quite a bit of torturous, activities after all. For Sora, honestly, this is basically nothing for the kid, who has literally been through, the most craziest things and even fight against the strongest people in multiple universes. These little things aren't even basically on his radar. So yeah. And of course, he would gain immunity, to be honest. Come on, let's be honest. Eva was always going to be eliminated. So yeah. Next up is that of the treasure hunt. And of course, this is basically a, challenge that is mainly by chance, like always. Given that, again, I'm not just going to just give that of immunity towards that of Sora for this one. Because again, it's based on what kind of chest they get. And also the chances that they could just be automatically eliminated as well. So, yeah. I'm deciding this by that of always. One of my 20-sided dies. Unfortunately, I ended up losing it. So, I had to use a die app just for this. And, God, this was so annoying. Occasionally, it was really close to basically getting Sora eliminated. Because not only it was really close to that of, 10, to that of a 10-sided dot to a 10 side, but it was also really close to that of one side being on a 2. And God, that was annoying. I need to get a new die sooner than later. But at any rate, Sora is saved and is not eliminated. Unfortunately, Trent is still eliminated though. Because of the miscommunication, after all, because of, Heather manipulating Trent and Gwen because the two got together. So, yep. Next up is hide and seek. And honestly, this was basically pitch perfect for somebody like Sora. Given that, again, Sora is an islander and has also been in that of tons of other worlds. He basically, just like with Lashana, he basically spends a majority of his time and almost all of his time nearing the beach and in the water to keep his distance from Chef after all. With him and Lashana basically both getting immunity. It also leads to that of, surprisingly, not Bridget getting that of eliminated like in canon, but instead Lindsay. Out of everybody, she was the one person that wasn't really doing much when it came to, finding a hiding spot after all. So, yeah. Lindsay is gone, and Bridget stays. But next up is that of the bike riding race. But at first, they're going to have to basically make their own bikes, of course. And when it comes to stuff like this is going to be one of Sora's specialties. Given all the unique designs for gummy ships after all, I feel like this would be that of Sora's specialty. He wouldn't make a bike like that of, Duncan's and Heather's. But I think he would at least have something similar that would basically use a little bit of magic that would at least be something similar to what they got after all. Of course, he has to basically give his bike to somebody else and have to ride somebody else's. But other with that, he was able to basically make it through pretty easily after all. And the second half of the challenge is basically going through an obstacle course race. Well, let's be honest. Sora is definitely taking first place, even with the bullshit that, Heather does anyway. And without Lindsay, she has no one to basically rely on during this whole race after all. And just like in canon, both Owen and Duncan, and you can even add Bridget onto this too, because given that she's, again, a surfer girl, and I think she wouldn't be too far off on how to basically make a bike, to be honest, would get caught up in that of the, well, obstacle course race, well, obstacles after all. And the person that would basically come in second would definitely be Heather. And just like with Lindsay, she would be eliminated. I mean, she would try to basically be nice and try to help out tell Sora to help her out and all that, and even basically try to be kind and all that crap. However, Sora is not going to fall for something like that so easily. He did at first, just thinking that it's a nice person, and honestly, just because she has the darkness doesn't mean she's evil, but given all the crap that she has pulled throughout the entirety of the competition, no way in hell he's trusting her again. So, yep, Heather is gone. Even though in my personal opinion, it should be Izzy or either Lashana, but again, that's just me. So, yeah. And the next challenge is surviving the serial killer challenge. Like always, honestly, Sora would definitely get this pretty easily. Again, normal people wouldn't be able to handle Sora with a Keyblade. What makes you think they're going to be able to handle him without one too? Who has basically gone through a lot of combat and experience. Chef is no way in hell basically beating Sora at all. And when the very same psycho killer with a hook basically shows up, I mean, sure, Gwen basically takes care of him actually, which gives her immunity. But even so, it was, well, Sora who took down that of Chef, to be honest. So in a way, he kind of gets secondary immunity, but that's just my own opinion. But then there's that of the person going home. And just like always, that's DJ. Given that he didn't even basically encounter Chef throughout the entirety of his run after all. So yeah. Then there's the next challenge, being the hunting challenge. Now, honestly, this isn't going to be too far off. Originally, I was going to have that of Sora take on a bear, but instead he's basically going after the raccoons, actually. And given the crazy shit that the raccoons did to basically go against that of Duncan in canon, him facing against a mechanized horde of raccoons is basically child's play for this kid. Just use a bit of barrier spells, charge into them, and boom, he's got a raccoon for that of his hunt. So yeah, he's all good. Plus, he even gets close to getting immunity, but surprisingly the one who got it first was, again, Gwen. So yeah. But even so, the person who gets eliminated this time, again, is, well, you would think Izzy, but no, it's actually Bridget. Again, this is the surfer girl who basically loves animals. Hunting animals literally goes against her principles. So she was screwed for this challenge from the very beginning. Next up is a team challenge, as the contestants are put into teams of 2, where actually Sora's partnered up with Lashana. And to be honest, Lashana doesn't have any problems with that of Sora. Sure, she can get annoyed with that of his always positive and upbeat attitude, but she knows that he's a good guy deep down, so they basically make it through. They're able to make through with that of the the leftovers from the brunch of disgustingness, able to basically make it back to Boney Island, to basically get rid of the other half of the Tiki doll that Beth basically didn't really get rid of, which really annoys Sora, to be honest. But they were able to make it through that of, well, the craziness that is Boney Island. However, the last part of the challenge is kind of irritating, to be honest. And that is, well, having to remember who got eliminated to who, to be honest. And Sora, let's just be honest, Sora's memory ends up becoming quite shit for that of Kingdom Hearts 3, if we all remember after all. Like, we all remember Sora being quite responsible and dependable in Kingdom Hearts 2, and Birth by Sleep, his memory he kind of became a lot more lax around crap. And in 3, let's be honest, the guy really forgot a lot of shit. So leading up to currently now, yeah, let's kind of figure out that Sora would not remember everybody that got eliminated throughout the competition after all. As much as I love my goat, he's not that bright of a kid. I guess that's what happens when you basically don't go to school and goes on these epic adventures for literally 3 years straight. But the team that does gain that of immunity is, well, Owen and Izzy, surprisingly. And you would think the person that would end up being eliminated would definitely be Jeff. Unfortunately, at this time, Sora's luck finally catches up with him, and everybody votes him off instead, as he's basically the only positive and nice competitor outside of Jeff that basically is now just in it just to get to win it after all, and just wants all of this to end already. With Sora figuring out that he's finally getting eliminated, that his time is up, saying, "That's all right, it's cool, guys." I actually had some fun, to be honest, as he heads out to the docks before waving to everybody else, saying, "Hope we can all meet again in the future." As instead of Sora basically staying at that of Total Drama Island's resort for losers, he basically just already leaves anyway. Basically goes on the gummy ship and heads back to that of the mysterious tower, with Yensid asking Sora, what did Sora learn? With realizing that that things were tough, but he's right that he relies too much on the Keyblade and he doesn't think things through properly. That he always acts first without thinking things. And now, and with being in that Total Drama Island competition, he realized that he needs to be a lot more ready, a lot more prepared, as it was basically a wake-up call for him to get more serious. But he won't lie, part of him really does wish to see his new friends and competitors back at Total Drama Island. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I know what some of you will be saying, why? Why, Leon? Why didn't you make Sora win? Trust me, I really wanted my goat to win this, more than anything. But if I basically, focus a lot more on how Total Drama basically does how they eliminate people, how certain people get immunity, stuff like that, it was only a matter of time until Sora basically got the boot, to be honest. It was either going to be this competition or during the whole people basically calling out his name, all the losers basically voting him off after all. So yeah, hopefully things will change for that of the Killer Bass part when I upload that too. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep you updated my videos upload the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, gaming channel, side channel, other channel, Patreon, and Cash App. All link in the description below. And don't forget, if you guys want me to do a what if commission, please go down to the comments below. Donate that of $4.99 or more, and I'll do a what if that of your choosing. So yeah, at any rate, with all that said, this is Leon Mooky signing out. Later, guys. Hope you all take care. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the end of the video.
But there's still so much on my love channel.
That's right, such as my other what if content and the most recent what ifs as well.
Not to mention his playlist, where you can watch all of his other what ifs.
Which, all said and done, this is Leon.
And Shiro.
And you're watching Leon Mooky.